1998 until 1902 with the whole process of reorganization of the country and the settle of the new Republic of Cuba. But all the presidents that were here from 1902 until 1959, they were corrupt. All the presidents stole the money for public works, for schools, from everything. They stole the money, and they were smuggling with drugs, weapons, and with the mob, the Italian-American mob that were here in Cuba. They actually were doing business with them. So the Cuban people were a little bit angry with those governors. So they decide to take, how can we say, to stand for it and start to fight those governors, those presidents at that time. So it comes the figure of many personalities such as Jose Antonio Echeverria, how can we say, a lot of personality until Fidel Castro started. Okay, so in 1952, Fidel Castro attacked the Moncada garrison in order to weak a little bit the Batista's army at that time. But of course that action actually failed and Fidel Castro was in prison. But because of the Cuban people and all the complaining of the Cuban people, they decide to, how can we say, send Fidel Castro to the exile to Mexico. But Fidel Castro at that time started to organize another expedition to Cuba to continue the process of revolution here. So it was practically the same as Jose Marti. So that's why he continued the work of Jose Marti. So Fidel Castro met El Che Guevara in Mexico and also Camilo Cienfuegos. You will see both of those personalities when we cross through the Revolution Square. The two big pictures in the facades of one of the or two of the most important buildings in Cuba. I'll explain to you all about those buildings. So they met in Mexico when they were preparing the expedition to Cuba aboard boarding the Granma yacht at that time. So they came here in 1956, 1957 in order to continue the war until 1959 when they on January 1st 1959 they how can we say, the revolution triumphed at that time. So from that moment on until here we had some other struggles such as Bay of Pigs, the missile crisis, and also many internationalist help to some other countries such as Angola, of course Vietnam, and some other places. But the Cuban people, we like to say that we continue in the process of revolution because in the very core of the concept of revolution is to change all that needs to be changed, you know. So in every step of the Cuban society we are making revolution every day. So that's why we continue with the process of revolution and with the ideas of Jose Marti. So here we are approaching the Revolution Square, and the most important building that I was telling you about are these two. This one, the very first, is the Ministry of Interior here on the left with the picture of El Che in the facade, the most famous picture of El Che Guevara, and it says "Hasta la victoria siempre." Is one of the saying that El Che was usually saying at all times. You know, "Hasta la victoria siempre." It means until the victory forever. Okay, and the other facade, the other building with the facade of Camilo Cienfuegos, is the Ministry of Telecommunications. So here on the right, you can see the obelisk and also the biggest sculpture of Jose Marti in Cuba, right over there. Beautiful, right? It's a mausoleum because inside is some sort of museum dedicated to Jose Marti. Many thoughts of Jose Marti are written in the wall of the mausoleum to remember him as he was. Okay, so behind the mausoleum is actually the most important building in Cuba, is the Revolution Palace, and the office of Raúl Castro is located inside that building over there, and also of course the office of Fidel at some point. Let me tell you that in the Revolution Square, let me start to the beginning. Of course, at the very beginning, the Revolution Square was built in 1958, was completed in 1958. So at that time we didn't have the revolution. So the name was Civic Square, and it was built because Batista wanted to earn back the sympathy of the Cuban people, you know, to build something for the Havanians or for the Cubans. And why it turns the name into Revolution Square? Because the first speech of Fidel Castro to the whole country was in the Civic Square at that time, and because of the word revolution was practically in every sentence that Fidel was saying to the people, they let the name of the Revolution Square because of that. Okay, I don't know if you're aware of the speech that Fidel Castro gave, that a dove came to his shoulder, a white dove. That was the first speech that Fidel Castro took in this square. So that's why he was known a little bit as the Messiah, because he has something related with Jesus Christ when he was speaking to the Hebrews, that a dove came to his shoulder, and of course many religious people relate that act with the one of Jesus Christ. Okay, this is El Cerro neighborhood, and here is located, here on the left, this is La Corona cigar factory. Okay, so the store that we're going to visit, this one over here, oh my god, is full of people. But they are going to be fast, let's hope. It's Corona cigar factory, and let me tell you that Corona, we are not be able to go inside the cigar factory, but let me tell you that in every cigar factory they manufacture all the